Hi, I'm Irene Tansman, author of A.B. and Arlene's Autism War. If you have a loved one who's enrolled in a rehabilitation facility, or you are considering rehabilitation for your loved one with autism and/or intellectual disability, or you are enrolled in a rehabilitation facility, please consider joining the Rehabilitation Families in Massachusetts Facebook group. Today, I'd like to talk to you about 7 important autism and IDD advocacy issues. The first issue, these are issues that you might want to consider talking to your state and federal representatives about. So the first issue is about the staff shortage, the staff shortages in Department of Developmental Services funded group homes in Massachusetts, and this is happening all around the country. But here in Massachusetts, the state received $5.3 billion in American Rescue Plan Act money, and $500 million of that can be spent on DDS and other home and community-based services, according to the Massachusetts spending plan. And CMS has approved these funds. However, there is also, in addition to all of that, there's a $4.2 billion budget surplus in the state budget. But we still have many people who are without services, and they're not spending this money. There is money available for this to address the staff shortages. But in Massachusetts, the Senate President Karen Spilka sees no need to rush the spending of these ARPA funds. Maybe she doesn't see any rush, but I believe that there is a rush for those people whose loved one is unserved, or for those people who are unserved because of staff shortages. The second important advocacy issue that I'd like to discuss is the $2,000 limit, that threshold that you cannot go, your bank account cannot go over $2,000 in order to qualify for SSI, Social Security income, or home and community-based services. There are many advocacy groups who are fighting to increase this threshold limit, which hasn't been changed since the 70s. Now, some lawmakers and some people will tell you, well, you have ABLE accounts, but everybody knows who is dealing with this, that it is very difficult to be able to pay all the bills that need to be paid and keep that spending limit under that $2,000 threshold. You have to do all kinds of fancy bookkeeping to make sure you stay underneath that $2,000 limit, and it causes a lot of ridiculous work that families have to do in order to keep it below that limit. So now let's bring us to number 3. The number 3 is organ transplantation discrimination, affecting those with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And we all know about that, but we need to talk to lawmakers about it and make them aware of it. And it is very, very unfair practices that are going on. Number 4, unfair discriminatory Medicaid re-enrollment forms. Here in Massachusetts, we have a 50-page re-enrollment form that if you're on SSI, you automatically qualify for Medicaid. But when you retire and your loved one goes on, if your loved one goes on Medicare, then then you do not automatically qualify for Medicaid. You must re-enroll every year, and there is a 50-page form that you must fill out in order to do that. Now, this 50-page form has questions on it where you absolutely, a lot of people are unfamiliar with the questions that are asked on the form. It is not a form designed for this population. It's designed for over 65 population that's going into nursing homes. And we need a form that is basically for us asking questions that pertain to the situation at hand, not to another situation. So it is unfair, discriminatory, confusing Medicaid re-enrollment forms. And by the way, some of these points are you need to bring them up with state lawmakers, and some of these points you would want to bring it up with federal lawmakers, and some a little bit of both. Number 5, problems with the Better Jobs, Better Care Act. We want to make sure we want salaries of direct support professionals to go up. We want better access to home and community-based services. You know, we want to get away from the waiting list, absolutely. But we can do this without hurting other people. We can do this without hurting the people who are in intermediate care facilities, and we should do that. And that's the problem with the Better Jobs, Better Care Act. And that brings us to my 6th point, is that severe disability organizations are not sitting at the table with the lawmakers. We need to see the National Council on Severe Autism and other disability organizations that represent the population of people who have severe disabilities at the table with the lawmakers. We shouldn't be excluded. Number 7, mandated staff vaccinations. Here in Massachusetts, there is mandated vaccinations for nursing home staff and for those in state facilities, ICFs, and state-operated group homes, but not for the private providers. So I believe that's coming down the pike, but there shouldn't be a difference. The staff vaccinations, mandated staff vaccinations, should be universal. So those are my 7 points to bring up with state and federal lawmakers. I hope this video has been helpful to you, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.